Welcome, everybody, to another episode and another stream here of Hooligan Radio Live. I'm Josh, joined here, of course, by Zach and Isaiah, as always, and we have three brand new episodes we're going to be streaming live for you. If you're listening later on a podcast platform or you're watching this on our YouTube channel, in this episode, we'll be talking about cryptid dinosaurs or the last remaining dinosaurs as Zach walks us through that topic. But stick around. It's going to be an awesome episode and an awesome stream if you're joining us live on Twitch, where we stream all of these episodes ahead of time. Isaiah, how have you been the last few weeks, and how are you doing today?
I've been pretty good, you know. We making moves. We making moves out here. I'm excited to talk about it in some of the future episodes about what my new fascination is. And we'll get, like a sweet start into it with my sweet top 3 today.
Absolutely.
Internet.
And what about you, Zach?
I'm doing great, staying alive. Yeah.
That is
Struggling
good.
early. Struggling early.
Well, let's just jump into it. I'm going to talk about a little bit of a life update as well as just a general topic I want your guys' opinion on for the opening topic here in the episode. So last week, it was officially announced where I work that we are going to be moving from a full-time in-office schedule to a hybrid schedule where I'm going to be working half the week in the office and half at home remotely. This was essentially out of nowhere for me. I did work from home for a little bit when there was a COVID outbreak a few months ago. I talked about on the stream, but I've been back in the office full time. My job was always a full-time office position, so this is kind of out of nowhere, and it was for across my entire company. HR just made this decision, and we're going to be doing it. And I think this is going on for a lot of people. So I just wanted to kind of bring this up as the opening topic to ask you guys: is this something that you feel like companies are going to be doing more and more in lieu of, maybe giving raises or other types of things? Because it seems like for a company like this to just announce it and just do it with no reasoning really behind it or no motive behind it, I could see it definitely being something that sticks with us past just being in a pandemic. Do you both still currently work full-time remote?
I work full-time remote.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
I was going to say, I thought I saw you post a picture of you being in the office the other day.
So yeah, I mainly work from home unless I have to go on site to a client's office for whatever reason, which is minimal, which is maybe once or twice a month. So I would maybe put the 99% in there. But yeah, other than that, I don't not necessarily going to the office anymore. Just been working from home.
Yeah, so during the pandemic, I moved away from my office, so I am full remote. If they were to call me back, I would have to move. So yes, full remote. But my company just recently opened up their offices again and gave everybody the choice on if they wanted to go into the office, they could, but nobody has to.
Yeah, and my wife, who was also, she has worked from home, worked remotely since she took her job before the pandemic. So she's always been at home. But during the pandemic, her company actually rebuilt a new office building and then opened it up and told everyone in the company, hey, we want people to come back here. But even them who spent all this money building this new office building, and telling the employees they want people back, they still made it optional for their employees, with a lot of them still staying home. So it just seems like, I honestly didn't believe it at first, but I'm really starting to come around to the fact that this may be a normal thing moving forward for basically any, office job or anything that you do on a computer, which is not the majority of jobs for sure. But it is, what would you probably a third of, most common jobs probably you could do at home. So it could definitely be something that I could see, just happening more and more. My last question would just be to you guys, from a preference level, is working from home something you want to do the rest of your career?
It really is. It's hard to talk bad about it, to be honest with you, especially doing it for the last 3 years. You definitely I sort of miss that social aspect of it. Definitely with going into the office, or I choose to go into the office occasionally just to see people or for events if they have like get-togethers, things like that. But I definitely sort of miss that social aspect of going into the office, or at least just being able to see your coworkers face to face.
Yeah, I don't miss it. I like there's a couple times where I'm like, man, it would be good to get into the office where it's like quiet and everybody are trying to work. But I also remember being in the office and being like unable to get my work done because people were always coming by and talking to me about different things. So um, no, I don't necessarily miss it at all. The social aspect, I think, is a light trade off compared to the gas and the mileage I'm putting on my car
Mhm.
and the increased insurance rates you get for having, commuter insurance, generally saying, hey, I'm driving, X amount of times every single day. I'd much rather just not. And like, it was made clear to me the other day when one of my friends just got her all remote job. She's like, it's completely like commuting was taking an hour away from me every single day, at least, barring any, accidents or anything like that. Could it be up to 2 hours? And I was like, yeah, I feel like I don't have enough hours in the day now. And I get off of work and I'm at home. Like, I could not imagine having to burn, 45 minutes to an hour on a good day and then 2 hours on a bad day, just getting to and leaving work.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
definitely I think the biggest advantage probably is just the money you save. For me, the only thing I'll say as far as to what Zach is saying is I am a night owl who desperately wants to be a morning person, but I don't think I ever will be. Like the one thing that I'm able to do is get myself up to go to the gym in the morning, and that's only because my pure hatred of going in the evening and it being packed. Because I go to Planet Fitness. I mean, nothing against the company, but you ever try to go to Planet Fitness at like 6 p.m.? Good luck. So that is the only motivation I can have to get myself up. But it is tough when you're working from home to not get up 4 minutes before your shift starts and then clock on, in your pajamas. And for me, at least being forced to wake up and shower and actually get into real clothes and drive into work and everything in the morning does help me get up a little bit in the morning because when I'm working at home, I go on benders where I'm going to bed at 4 or 5 a.m. every morning and waking up
Jesus Christ.
waking up 2 hours
Goodness her.
later because I just know that I don't need to be fully mentally aware, to as I would need to be in an office because if you go into an office and you look like you just woke up 5 minutes ago, people are gonna look at you kind of weird.
Mhm.
So that's a little bit of a difference for me, but that's basically semantics. So yeah, I just find it very interesting for sure. So I just wanted to bring it up. Any last comments on that before we move on to our top three?
Yeah, I think, well, at Progressive, it was definitely me going and like I would get to work and I would like set up my computer, check my emails, and then me and a coworker would go get breakfast like from their cafeteria. So like it was just a matter of like now I'm like, oh, I'm at home. I just make breakfast and sign on, and I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm here, bro. What's up? So I definitely get what you're saying, but
You
you
get a
know,
routine down and stuff after
yeah,
a while.
yeah.
But
But the
I definitely see
morning,
the pros of not having to necessarily do any of those in the first place.
the morning gym routine is OP when you work from home because you could just like you get a little bit of
So fast.
activity and your brain wakes up, and then you can actually get to work.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say with my wife, when we're, deciding whether or not to go to the gym, it's like the hardest thing I have to do every day is get up if I'm going to the gym in the morning. But then if you go to the gym in the morning, it is the best feeling when you're done. Like
Yep.
when I go to the gym in the afternoon, evening, I still feels good, but I'm just kind of like,
You're just
okay, like
angry
yeah,
when you
it's
go
like
to the. You're
the
just
day's
like you
almost
said.
done.
Everything's already packed. You're just like I don't want to deal with any of this.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the day's almost done. You're worried about eating dinner, all this stuff. In the morning, it's like you go work out. Like Isaiah said, your brain wakes up as well as your body, and you just feel like refreshed. But it's feels good, but it's so tough to just not lay in your bed cuddled up for that extra hour and a half. So very
Yeah,
difficult.
the 2 minute alarm before you start work for the work from home
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
The if I
All right.
A
snooze
little bit
this, I
different.
will be late for work. Is the
Yeah, yeah. That's my snooze button. I will not
yeah.
be there on time.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll move on to our top three. Isaiah has our first top three of the day. For anyone new here, the top three is kind of like a fantasy draft style snake draft, where we do a different topic every episode, and we just go back and forth choosing what our favorites are of that certain category. So I'll throw over to Isaiah to introduce what his category is for today's top three.
So for my top three, like I said, I'm gonna tease what my future episode main topic is by picking top three racing games, boys. So this is can be anything, anything from Mario Kart to Gran Turismo, anything in between. It could even be if you're like you want to argue me on a technicality that like a Mario Sonic Olympic Adventure or whatever the fuck that is has races in it. I'm into it, bro. So top three racing games that you guys prefer. Josh, I think you get to go first, then it's me, and then Zach gets to go twice. Snake draft order. So, Josh, whatever you have for us.
Yeah.
I do have one question as we start.
Yeah.
Are we picking individual? Does it have to be an individual game inside of a franchise? So, like for example, if I were to pick Mario Kart first, would I just take the entire thing?
From that one might be a little bit different because Mario Kart's pretty big, but I would count Gran Turismo, like Isaiah uses as example, as an entire series.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay.
think that. No, I think we go franchises. Because,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
Oop,
shit,
man,
okay.
Josh, you're going off the gate.
he's got
Yeah.
because it's gonna be because like I don't want it to be 9 choices of 6 different Mario Kart
Sure.
games, and then
Yeah,
being
sure.
like, oh yeah, I liked Forza 3 and Forza 5, and being like, what's
Okay.
the difference? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we can
I
just
like
if
this.
you
We're
have
going
if you
deep
have
into this.
favorites, yeah, if you have favorites within the franchise, then you can call those out, I guess.
Yeah,
He's getting serious. He had to put on the
I had to put on the hat,
backwards
bro.
for it.
The
Yeah.
backwards hat, yeah. Okay, so this wasn't gonna be my first pick, but with that being said, I have to take Mario Kart then. Like, there's really no
Yeah, you have
choice.
to.
I have to. For me personally, my favorites are probably the GameCube one, Double Dash. I really like.
Double Dash for sure.
The one for N64. And then most recently, the one I think it was 8. That's like the newest one, right?
Mhm.
I played a lot of that as well on the Wii U, and then it came for free on my Switch. So those would probably be my favorite ones. But yeah, when it comes to an arcade style racer, Mario Kart's obviously
Is
just
there
kind of
not
the
a
goat.
Mario Kart out on the Switch yet? Like one that's come out for
There's
the
not
Switch?
a Switch native one. No, they just
Wow.
ported over Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never knew
I
that.
think it's called like 8 Deluxe or something, or 8
Yeah.
something. But yeah, it's the same game basically.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that'll be my number one pick.
Yeah, I think putting it in franchises makes this a lot better because I mean, there's a lot of racing games. So I got to get straight out of the gate and pick Crash Bandicoot Racing, baby. CTR.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Good one.
yeah.
Wow.
The Crash Racing games I don't think they were as fun as Mario Kart, don't get me wrong. But I think that it was like that, and another one I've got in the back of my head that I don't want to just give away to Zach are like the top 3 iconic kart racing games.
About to say, outside of Mario Kart's franchise, there's maybe like 3 or 4 that I've played. So this one's gonna be close for me. But 2 in the row, so I at least got 2 here. I'm gonna go with Gran Turismo with the franchise. That one I actually have played quite a bit of, like 2, 3, 4, up to like the PS3 version. I've always loved playing it. Really play with any car from like racing dirt tracks all the way up to really NASCAR cars, which is pretty fun. And then the second one, I'm gonna aim for another pretty big series and go for the Need for Speed series.
Yeah, that's an
Sure.
iconic racing game series for sure.
Absolutely. I
Both
can't remember
of
which
those.
one it was, but the one where you could get out of your vehicle, I just remember was supposed to be the biggest groundbreaking thing for the series, and then it was just like, all right, thanks.
It's like I'll just play Grand Theft Auto if I want.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one
Yeah,
that
Need for
was.
Speed.
I really loved Need for Speed Most Wanted back in like I think it was 2006, 2007 for the 360, where you're like a street racer. I loved that game. Put a lot of hours into that one, so that was definitely on my list.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%. Like when I thought about this, the first game I thought of was Need for Speed, and I was like, "That's a good one." And then I thought of Mario Kart, so Zach got a good double pick there for sure.
Sneaking it in.
That brings it back to me. I think that the one that I'm thinking about will definitely go to Josh if I don't pick it up here. But I have to pick my favorite racing series and the one I have the most hours in. It's the Burnout series where they had different races and different like crash total games where you're supposed to crash as many cars as possible. So I'm going Burnout for sure.
Great one.
That was absolutely on my list. Burnout, is a great franchise. I'm trying to think of the one that I played all the time. I can't remember the exact name of it. But there was one in particular. I think it might have been Burnout 3, but I'm just looking at what year they came out. But yeah, I also really love the sequences in that game where you'd crash out another car and it would like slow motion show it like blowing up and stuff.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Okay, so I get my last two in a row then, and there's so many to pick from. I'm really trying to think here. So my second one, I'm probably gonna have to go with, damn. Okay, I'm gonna go with Driver, the Driver series for my second one.
That's fair.
Okay.
Specifically, Driver 3 was one of my favorite games for the original Xbox. That was also a game where you could get out of your car.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that one. And then for my last pick, I'm kind of stuck between a few, but I think I will go a little bit more retro. I'm going to go with the Twisted Metal series.
Is that a racing game? I was going to
say
throw
I
that
don't know if
in
there
as
are
an
races in
honorable
it or not, or if it's just a battle royale card game. But I'll let it slide.
Yeah,
slide.
that
There's
was a
probably
great one.
races somewhere.
mention. Since you brought it up, we'll count it.
Yeah, I do think there are from my memory, but I can't remember. I mean, yeah. It's been a while since I've played it for sure. That was like PS1, PS2. And also one of the ones for I think it was PS2 had like one of the scariest video game covers of all time of just like half of the clown's face was the cover and it was scared me as a kid.
I'm thinking of something else.
But just while we're talking about it, also just want to mention as a kind of an honorable mention, but I don't think anyone would take it, so I'm just going to say it now. Back in the PS2 days, WWE also released a Twisted Metal spin-off type game, kind of a rip-off game called WWE Crush Hour, and that was that was a hilarious game.
If anyone can find that game.
Yeah, so you could basically be like in
Crush
Rikishi's
Hour?
car, blowing up The Rock's car. It was pretty awesome. So yeah, that'll be my list. So I'll send it back over to Isaiah for the last round.
I can't believe you didn't take that as one of your actual things. That's incredible.
I mean, Twisted Metal is objectively better than this game.
I mean, that's
fair. But as just a hilarious meme, this game's pretty good.
Yeah. So the one that I actually held off for my last pick, I'm surprised has made it this far, but I got to go with Diddy Kong Racing, baby. Without Diddy Kong Racing, I wouldn't have been into the race games, man. Diddy Kong Racing was just, the Donkey Kong version of Mario Kart before they pretty much like ported all of the functionality from that over to Mario Kart. Loved it. I love Diddy Kong Racing. I remember you to fly the little planes on some of the tracks and stuff like that.
Yep.
Big fan.
And boats too.
Yep, Diddy Kong. So that was the kart one that I was alluding to that I took Burnout over. So I'm glad I got Burnout out from under Josh for sure because he sounded like he was roaring towards it. All right, Zach, you get the last pick.
All right. I'm going to go with a guilty pleasure of mine for several years, and that's going to be the Juiced series.
Juiced. I don't think I've ever played that.
Juiced? I'm hoping it's called Juiced. I'm going to double check now. But it essentially was just like a wannabe Need for Speed with like pink slips and all of that. It was one of the first games I've ever played multiplayer online. I think that was the first game I've ever played like actual online against someone. And yeah, that was my game for a while back then. Let me tell you.
See, I'm glad that we went franchises because there were so many games now that I'm starting to think about it. And like I said, we could be here in honorable mentions forever. But what's me and Squinter in the chat brought up was Trackmania. Have you guys played Trackmania?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's basically it's not a kart racer. It's more of like a timed base racer, but everybody gets to join in and then you set the fastest time. And then on your turn, you get X amount of minutes to try to beat the fastest time. So if the fastest time is 45 seconds to complete the track, you get 5 minutes and as many tries as you want to try to beat that time. And you can restart from the beginning as many times as possible in it. It is one of my favorite racers, and it is like when you play it in person, like only one person races at a time, so it's kind of cool for a party game. If so, you're like everybody hops in, Josh says like if it was us three, Josh would go first, Zach and I can like talk, drink, do whatever, watch him play, kind of get the tips, and go. It's so good. I highly recommend Trackmania if you haven't played it. But I'm surprised that one of the most iconic racing games of all time made it all the way to honorable mentions, and nobody said Cruisin' USA, the arcade game of all racing games, baby. The one where if you slam the pedal down, your car did a wheelie. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
had this for N64 as well.
Yeah, dog. I fucking loved that game. You guys have any other honorable mentions?
The other game that I didn't know if it counted as a racing game or not was Simpsons Road Rage. I used to rent that game all the time from Hollywood Video back then for the PS2. But
I,
again, it's like, where's the cutoff for the racing game or just being in a car?
I would say
Yeah.
that, yeah. I mean, like, with that, you wouldn't be able to include Crazy Taxi, which was basically a racing game, where you were just trying to beat the time and do that. So, yeah, I mean, I would, yeah, sure, why not? If we're going to
In
put
the
Twisted
same-
Metal in there.
Yeah,
we're
in the same
getting
vein.
juiced out of here then. I'm putting that as number 3.
In the same vein, if we're counting Twisted Metal, then would you guys count Rocket League? I've never played it, but it's obviously insanely
Man.
popular the last couple
You
of years.
know what? No, not for racing game. Not
It's
for the
more
just like
racing
soccer,
soccer,
game.
yeah, it's more
soccer,
sport,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
hard.
yeah, I wasn't sure.
And then I think the last honorable mention, also that I'm surprised made it this far, but I think it kind of alludes to itself, is Forza. None of us
Yeah.
picked Forza. It's a good game, but like Zach said, he played most of his racing games, on PS3? Probably
PS2,
way back in the
actually.
day. PS2,
Yeah,
PS3.
PS3 is like probably where I stopped really playing them.
So, yeah, we probably never really got into the Xbox version of Gran Turismo, which was Forza. And
Yeah.
Forza has two different kinds of games. They have a motorsport game, which is more like Gran Turismo. And then they have Horizons, which is more like you drive a car around and pick up different street races and stuff like that.
I
More
do
open
have
world.
I do have two more that I think both are overshadowed by their mini games. I think the mini games in them are more fun than just the straight up racing part of them. But ATV Off Road Fury was a really fun video game series that had good mini games in it. And then also Super Monkey Ball, much more popular.
Shit,
Damn.
Super Monkey
Much more
Ball.
popular for its mini games. Yeah, I'll play
Where's
the
that
Monkey Ball
cutoff?
mini games, but the actual game mode is racing. But I don't think anyone really plays Super Monkey Ball for the racing. So
That's true. That's true. It is definitely, yeah, I would say that counts, dude. It's definitely a racing game. But all right, that is my top 3 for this week.
Oh yeah.
You guys gave me so many different games, and I can't wait to fucking beat somebody in fucking Trackmania. If that's Mean Squinter in the chat or you guys, one day we got to play some Trackmania.
Dude, I'm
Was there
down.
like
I'm
a-
down to give anything a try. I need to
can't
get
think
off
of
the
the-
Elden Ring grind.
I can't
But we
think of
can
the
talk
name
about that
now,
later.
but wasn't it like a weird, like a decade ago, like a weird racing mobile game that came out multiplayer online on your phone that was really popular? I'm gonna try to look that up. I can't remember
On
what it
your
was.
phone, but you
yeah,
played online with
it was
multiple
like
people.
yeah, and it was really popular for like
Wasn't it there a game?
1 year.
I don't know if this was the same thing you're talking about, but I remember Mario. I thought it was Mario Kart. They had something to where you could play like a mobile version of it with other people. If you gave them a code or something.
I don't remember that. I did come up with another racing game that I would like to put in the honorable mentions. Have you guys ever played Hydro Thunder? The
No.
fucking boat racing arcade game? Oh,
Oh god, no. That's what I was
love
trying to
that
think
shit.
of, like some good like boat games, like
Yeah.
airplane racing games, and I just couldn't come up with anything off quick enough.
I fucking love Hydro Thunder. Yeah, I don't know what app you're talking about, but I bet whenever he
make
brings
it.
it up, it's gonna pop into my brain because it sounds like something that I would be very into. But
It was very janky.
it was called Fun Run.
Fun Run. I don't necessarily remember that, but maybe just because it doesn't have a
Fun
memorable name. I'll have to look at the screenshots from the app. But with that being said, Josh, I'll hand it back to you.
All right. Well, we're going to head to our main topic now. Zach has the main topic for this episode. I'll go ahead and throw it
What
over to
is
him to
me?
introduce in a second. But first, if you're here live on the stream and you miss any of it today, All of it does get uploaded both to our YouTube channel for the video and on all podcast platforms, wherever you listen to podcasts. So if you're here now and you missed the later episodes or you missed the beginning of this one, you can catch that on YouTube as well as in podcast form. And if you are watching right now on YouTube or listening to the podcast, you can join us live. Follow us on Twitter at Hooligan_radio. We tweet out when we're going to be going live. It's usually every third Sunday to record these episodes live in front of all of you guys. So I'll leave that there. Zach, I'll throw
Good
over to you
plug.
for the main topic of the episode.
Yes. So as we sort of preluded to earlier, my main topic is going to be sort of going over cryptid dinosaurs or sort of modern dinosaurs, or the idea of that dinosaurs didn't necessarily go extinct back then, when whatever sort of event caused their extinction. And I'm not necessarily including like the alligators, the cockroaches, any of the sea animals that we can probably all argue that are still from possibly from that era. This is sort of just going into the larger than life situations like the plesiosaurs and some of these other like dinosaurs that we've come across. Sort of going off the plesiosaur, I know we've talked about some of these in the past that we'll also bring up. Plesiosaurs for some of the seawater creatures. I know we've briefly talked about thunderbirds as well. Um, and I will also get out. There's going to be a lot of probably incorrect name pronouncing, because there's a lot of foreign names in here, and I cannot do them very well. Just to get that out. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Do you guys have any questions before we start?
Are we going to be talking about dragons? I want to nip this in the bud real quick.
I mean, technically, yes, they're all dragons and dinosaurs and reptiles.
Shit. All right, I'm in. I'm invested now that we're talking about dragons.
Just put a name to it and you got it.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, as we all know, dinosaurs went extinct or have gone extinct over the course of several million years ago. Close to like 60 million is roughly around the last time the larger dinosaurs that we come to think of roamed the earth, supposedly scientists estimate. But there are definitely some people and scientists who theorize that there are little parts across this world that some of these larger dinosaurs or animals that we once thought extinct could have lived out, or at least lived longer than we initially thought. Whether that's seeing some cave paintings with drawings from humans that were essentially living in that area way past when dinosaurs should, all the way up to some possible even modern day ones, some closer to like the 19th century, 20th century. A lot of these remote areas and dense jungles are usually in South America or in Africa. One of them mainly is the Congo, as well as the Amazon rainforest. A lot of the places that you can expect to hide some of these larger animals, as well as places that we haven't necessarily explored too much. As well as the ocean, of course. We haven't. I think the ocean is the least explored out of all of the world. So, of course, there's going to be things that we have not come across, and things that are probably still unearthed down there that have been living for many, many years. But sort of to go back all the way to land here, one that we actually brought up last main topic of mine was the Malik Mbembe, which believed to be a dinosaur around. Here we go. Malik Mbembe, it was a dinosaur that supposedly lived along the Congo River basin. It was described as being a sauropod or sauropod, essentially one of the ones with the very long necks, if you can remember from Land Before Times. Essentially, this creature was first seen, or supposedly the first description was in the early 20th century, 1909. It was talked about in a book called Beasts and Men, an autobiography from a big game hunter named Carl Heckbank, who supposedly came across a animal like this during his days there. He also supposedly tried to continue to hunt the animal or the creature using a lot of the natives' help, but they were never able to find it, essentially afterwards.
All I can picture right now, and the story is not making it any easier, is like Malik Mbembe sounds like somebody who would be on a soccer team, and so now I'm just picturing like a raptor in a soccer jersey.
Yeah. And that's probably on me for butchering whatever name that this probably should be.
I'm like, get him, Malik.
Yeah. But essentially, the creature's fame only grew in the 20th century with more big game hunters coming to the area wanting to find the creature and be the one that essentially takes down the creature. But again, if you think about it, having a dinosaur like a sauropod living in the Congo for any period of time afterwards would just be it's unrealistic when you think about it. So a lot of this is one cryptid that's gotten a lot of look into the scientific community. What people are possibly thinking that was a black rhinoceros that was misidentified, having certain features just like the large body, things like that. They're thinking that big game hunters back then misinterpreted the creature for being something like that, or as well as just a group of creatures together, possibly seeing just the legs of one creature and seeing the neck of like a giraffe, things like that.
I have a question for both of you.
Yes.
Recently, I remember them saying that dinosaurs might have been covered in feathers. Do you guys think that dinosaurs were covered in feathers? And does that also bring the most terrifying picture into your heads, or
There has to be some that with feathers, right? I imagine there has to be a lot of variety, right?
I think
I'm not a scientist in any sort of way. This is just a thought.
I thought that it had gotten further than that. Like I thought at this point the scientific consensus is that all dinosaurs did have feathers. That's like kind of their consensus. That's what's my understanding.
I think I've played too much Elden Ring because any feathered creature in Elden Ring is just terrifying. But I'm also picturing they could have like, peacock colored feathers and just be like the most beautiful beings of all time. You're like, look at that red, yellow, and blue super feathery dinosaur. How pretty. And then it just Jurassic Park's my ass, bro. But now I'm picturing a feathered dinosaur in a soccer jersey and he's scoring a goal and being like, goal!
Yeah.
So I'm having my own little party over here, guys. Don't worry about me.
Oh, no, you're
So
good.
quick looks like this website let's see here, amnh.org. It says that some scientists think all dinosaurs, including sauropods, had feathers, just as all mammals have at least some hair. Large mammals, such as elephants, though, have very limited hair, so similarly, sauropods may not have had many feathers, making them unlikely to be preserved in fossils. So it looks like they're saying that the feathers, if they didn't have feathers, they would have been unlikely to be preserved in fossils, which also is what leads them to believe they had feathers. So yeah, very interesting. But I do think like a T-Rex covered in feathers would probably make it less scary, but certain of the smaller dinosaurs being covered in feathers definitely could make it more scary, I think.
I
Yeah.
think just seeing one would be pretty scary in general, whether the feathers are there or not. At this point.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Like I would just be like, "You're not supposed to be here." That would be my first idea. Moving on from him, actually another fun thing. Josh, you saw the new Godzilla that came
Yep.
out. Malik Mbembe was actually mentioned several times throughout that movie as one of the what are
Soccer
they called?
players on the team for Japan.
No, one of like the Titans or one of the kaijus, essentially.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
'Cause I guess he's pretty in the film's narratization, I like novelization a lot. So to continue on here, we'll go on to Thunderbirds, which a lot of times you can argue are, and I can't remember essentially the flying dinosaurs, Pterosaurs, or anyone remember how to say it?
Pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls. There's another name, but we'll just say pterodactyl. Supposedly, there's a lot of seen or supposed Thunderbirds in Southern America, especially during the 19th century and 20th century. There's been a lot of writings and recordings of them. Let me pull these up here.
I'm gonna guess they look like Zapdos from Pokemon.
They could. These ones, sort of to go off Josh's feathers, have been explained to have feathers or have the large winged feathers, which sort of led them to the Thunderbird name. To go back to actually the ocean here, explorer Percy Fawcett mentioned dinosaur-like animals briefly on several occasions as they went and traveled down the Rio Grande area on the border of Bolivia and Brazil. A lot of butcher names there.
He'll get there, bro.
One day. In the late 1907, Franz Hermann Schmidt and Rudolf Plung allegedly encountered an aquatic dinosaur-like monster, 35 feet long, and in a swampy area in the forested swamps of Laredo, Peru. It had a tapered-like head that was the size of a beer keg, a snake-like neck, and a heavy clawed flipper. Supposedly, the bullets did nothing to affect the animal, said Schmidt, and essentially it caused a lot of damage to their boats because of the creature. In the 1931, Swedish explorer Halt Waston saw a 20-foot lizard walking along the shores of the Rio Melmor on the border of Brazil and Bolivia. It had an alligator-like head, 4 legs, and a body like a boa constrictor.
I got an aside at this point, and I think it is very pertinent. What length of an alligator do you guys think you could wrestle in feet and win?
None.
2 feet max.
Yeah. What's the newborn one?
I said 4. My friend said 8. You guys
8?
are going 2, and I said, yeah, okay. All right. I
no
thought
one on this planet is wrestling an 8-foot alligator.
I think you have to give like half your body weight to what that alligator.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Easily take you.
Any alligator that is longer than my body is tall, I'm going to lose to. So I can imagine why this explorer saw a 20-foot looking alligator and was like, I'm not going to get the fuck out of here, bro. Boom. Segue back into what Zach's talking about. Sorry for the derailment.
No, that fit. I mean, I would be terrified of that too. And then really the only other thing that I had over here was essentially the plesiosaurs. Of course, all of the not swamp, but essentially the sea monsters that we've talked about. Champ, Loch Ness, of course. We've talked many times of them possibly being plesiosaurs, especially somehow surviving caves during these gigantic lakes, things like that. Fortunately, not the most scientifical either. There's been many expeditions, especially on Loch Ness and some of these other Great Lakes, to see if they can find any of these creatures or caves, but unfortunately, nothing's been found. So it seems like a lot of these have just been theories passed down, but they definitely make great stories, it seems.
Yeah, I think that at one point, everyone that while we were growing up, going on YouTube, looked up real dinosaur proof on film and watched all the videos.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know I did that. I still to this day.
Anything you watch in the grayscale film, is real.
Yeah, I remember switching out the word dinosaur for anything that was ever an urban myth. Real Slenderman footage.
You add the word real and it's real.
Real Bigfoot proof. As if these videos were just out there on YouTube, but somehow no one hadn't become like news yet. But we were gonna find them, in middle school.
We're gonna find them on YouTube. We're gonna splunk into YouTube,
yeah,
with our little mining helmets, and been like, "I found the video that proves Bigfoot is real."
I do also wish that I could have experienced. Imagine being like the first crew to dig up like a dinosaur head. How crazy, like a fossil. They must have been like, what the fuck? Like it must have been so crazy to them.
Well, I can imagine like thinking about it when they're going through and not even finding the skull, but finding a bone that was like so long. You're like, what in the fuck is this to? And you're like, whatever. And then they continue digging and eventually find the skull. And they're like, this is what that is to. What the fuck is this?
What is this?
Terrifying, bro.
Yeah, but that's it for me. A short and simple one. A messy one too.
So Zach, let's say this was possible. How long do you think some type of dinosaur would have been able to survive? Like how recently do you think the extinction would have been?
Like 50 million years. I honestly don't think nothing like that size would have made it that far, to be honest. Again, it's probably going to be in the ocean or like again, alligators, I guess, are technically considered dinosaurs and certain things like that. But
No,
we're not seeing like anything from Land Before Time walking the earth in the anytime soon or any time recently.
that brings up my follow-up question. Zach, what is your favorite movie representation of dinosaurs?
Land Before Time, the third.
Okay. Josh, what about you?
The third specifically. It's a basic answer, but I'll have to go with the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Ice Age.
Theodore Rex. Oh.
Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs.
Yeah. Mean Squinter brings up a good point in the chat. Said a Mickey D's Sprite could kill a T-Rex in 3 seconds flat. If the Sprite is flat, probably too much sugar, kill him. If the Sprite is not flat, boom, still gonna kill him. Too bubbly, too spicy, bro. Sprite too spicy for the dinosaurs.
I do also have to give an honorable mention to 1993's We're Back, a dinosaur story, a movie about an animated movie about an alien who time travels and brings back dinosaurs to New York City. That's a good one too.
I was gonna say the dinosaur representation in Kung Fury is probably one of the best dinosaur representations.
Oh, dude, what are any of us talking about? It's got to be Velocipaster, right?
Oh yeah,
wow.
Velocipaster is the most accurate representation of any dinosaurs ever seen. But that's all I got. Got anything else for us there, Zach? Any follow-up
Nothing
questions
today.
for us?